Excessive screen time, terrible win rates, and just literally no need for being in the competition at this point. A majority of BFDI contestants have their ups and downs, but over their whole BFDI career, who is genuinely the most overrated? A big factor that plays into this list is if they have been voted to stay longer for no good reason at all. Which is why I want to start off this list with one of my favorites, Marker. Marker is one of those silly contestants that adds his fun little bit to the show and proceeds to get a little carried on by the series. In BFB, his character never actually got fleshed out or went anywhere. He was just a fun contestant that had a funny voice and stupid moments like his dirt jokes. Later on in Teapot, he got to have more of a competitive role and actually did start to compete a little bit more in challenges. His main thing was that in early Teapot, he just tried to find a middle ground between Black Hole and Fanny. But after that, what else has he truly done? He started to compete more, but hasn't done a very great job at that. His two newest and biggest moments are from last year, being the new green look that he got and the coin from Tree. But I guess that one's technically over. So he's more so just been a competitor that became very average around Teapot 12, which has been like half of his run now. He still did try and has had his little tiny reasons to make it as far as he has, but him just being funny and competitive just do not mix well together. But as shown, this list isn't based on favoritism, since Marker was actually one of the higher ones I put in my tier list last year. But that might not seem as believable as I start off the next one with Ice Cube being number 9. Ice Cube has had her fair share of interesting runs to say the least. She didn't get really carried, but also didn't have much of a reason to be voted out in Season 1 of BFDI. Season 2, however, was a very interesting one for her. Starting off back with BFDIA 6, making a name for herself, and then that kind of progressed too much. There are certain arguments for her to say why she isn't exactly the most overrated, but I mean, like, come on. She had a whole team for herself and then did nothing literally for that challenge because she got unalived. I've said it before, but fans knew that this was such a bad episode for her, and she almost pulled a teardrop getting the most likes and second to most dislikes. The rest of her run was short, but like, what else did she do besides push and complain? Season 4 was kind of just in existence for her, and she decided to join Ions towards the end. But then I look back at her run on Teapot, and that's actually way worse than I thought. Seriously, what did she do? Avoided book immediately, died in challenges, lost her limbs, and then just slid around. I was going to say that, yeah, she had a little bit of an early leave because I thought she got out in Teapot 13 for a second, which means that her character arc that was supposed to happen with Fanny, or still could, literally meant nothing in my eyes. I genuinely forgot that she got out in Teapot 15. I'll give it that Ice Cube can have some pretty funny moments with her reused lines, but wow, she has just not had as much of a good run as I thought she has. But whose run has been basically impeccable, yeah, fanciest word I'll ever use on this channel, goes to a fan favorite of mine. I'm just gonna stop, it's Fanny. I was joking about this earlier this week, but like, why is Fanny actually still in Teapot? Her run in BFB was pretty solid, could have been really bad at the beginning. But BFB, she had good moments like caring for Bubble and wanting to bring more appreciation. I still love everything that she did back in the early half of Teapot, but her character died out pretty quickly once the resolution with Black Hole got resolved. The biggest other moment that she had was with Black Hole and coming to that agreement with the bugs in episode 13. Besides that though, where has her character been going? She made a deal with one, but what character hasn't at this point? I've even made a deal with one, so that doesn't really get any brownie points for her. She might have something coming up in the newest episode with her being unable to be recovered, but who knows, she probably got taken away by one. I made this point in short, but every single one of her most recent episodes, she got taken out so early, or just didn't add anything to the plot. Got out early in Teapot 16, 17, and 19, then for 18, 20, and 21, she hasn't even appeared. 18 and 20, yeah, there's obviously reasons why, but my point is she's had like 6 episodes of nothing in a row. She just stayed dead in episode 21 and still won, which yeah, a good other couple contestants did as well, but let's be honest, they have their reasons. I like her as a contestant and her personality, but she has definitely overstayed her run and she should not still be getting votes in the 20 episodes of Teapot. But someone who I think has been carried because they're a debuter is Price Tag. This will get backlash because I know that Price Tag just had a whole episode with 2 talking about their lives and everything, but that's kind of also my point. Why is your story so boring that we need to get 20 episodes in for you to talk about how you feel like you don't fit in? Jeez, I see the comments now in my head. Winner, the other debuter, competes like a madman, and bro stuff actually makes sense with his ties with Loser. Price Tag though just kind of goofed around at the beginning of Teapot. The closest thing that Price Tag has done to deserve any type of respect is for having a good talk with Book. But after being a decently well competitive contestant, what actually is left for Price Tag? I swear this thing has had like no story arcs for a majority of season 5, and then somehow is still able to get second safe every single elimination. That is not deserved when there are characters like Snowball who compete, lead, and bring the team together every single episode. Then Price Tag just goes through a window and then just has a little sit down with 2. Price Tag is cool because of, and I'll just say it, being a new contestant. I would truly say that price tag isn't overrated if I was actually able to convert my shopping habits into good deals like that. But there is someone who was actually able to help me out with that, which is Coupert being the sponsor for today's video. Also, quick celebration, we got a sponsor! Here's the best part. When you reach checkout, Coupert automatically tests coupon codes for you. So that involves no searching or guessing on a good deal. It scans millions of coupons across thousands of stores and applies the best one instantly. And with Coupert's max saving guarantee, if a valid coupon is missed, your order may even qualify for a cash reward. Coupert also gives cash back at 76,000 retailers like Amazon, Walmart, Nike, the list goes on. Just activate cash back before you check out and you earn real money back. Unlike other platforms that take forever, Coupert processes cash back in about 3 to 15 days, and you can withdraw through PayPal, gift cards, or a bank transfer. And while you browse, Coupert compares prices across different stores in real time, so you instantly know if there's a cheaper option somewhere else. Actually, no more wondering if you got the best deal. With over 9 million users and partnerships with 200,000 plus merchants, Coupert users save $600 per year on average. So stop overpaying online, install Coupert using the link below, and start saving on every order. Because smarter shoppers use Coupert. But you want to talk about a smart choice? That would have been putting Coiny in the final 3 of BFDIA. But a certain someone was able to take that spot over him. Needle, I will say, is a very competitive player. I like that she's getting her little changing arc of doing stuff for herself, but I started to notice when looking back at eliminations and actual challenges, she's really not that good. Like, people want to talk about how Book was so unlucky with always getting put up for elimination since BFDIA 14. Up till the newest episode as of this recording being BFDIA 23, Book has only been saved twice. Want to take a guess who has also only been saved twice since then? I never understood why she was always such a complainer. She literally had everyone wanting to accept her for one episode and wanted to be her ally. There were those bad moments for sure with her like Free Smart and Woe Bunch and other things like that. But trying to change teams and being on both, she kind of put that on herself. But you also realize that trying to help your team win is also the point of being part of a team. I'm not going to say that she didn't get downplayed sometimes in BFDIA and bits of Teapot, but seriously, winning it for myself? What else are you supposed to do at the end of the final couple contestants? Everyone had their motives to win. Your arc did not have to be about the most basic thing that everyone is trying to do. Win. Even then, when you compare her run in Teapot, can't say that's much better. This one actually isn't because of Coiny, believe it or not, but she should have totally gotten out after the balance beam challenge. She got 4 people out and 2 of those were literally her teammates. Why on earth was she still kept in at this point? Needle is just one of those contestants that tries her hardest and looks like she's doing good, but actually fails way more than expected. But someone whose run really hasn't been good or bad is more so just there. When I look in the background of contestants, I genuinely just go, wait, you're still in this? TV is a contestant that shouldn't be a contestant. I think his character works as a host really well. That's why his whole role in BFDIA worked, and during the Teapot 15 challenge, he showed the timeline. But then you realize as a contestant, you know, someone who's competing, why are they just sitting there? He just gave ideas and talked. I'm sorry, but what did he actually do as a contestant in his run? I won't deny he had some funny moments and was a good comic relief character, but also there's a ton of BFDI contestants that are also like that. His only competing episode in Teapot I remember off the top of my head was Teapot 16, when he started to control a robotic spider. It wasn't even him who fought. He had to get a buff to do something. Like, you have wheels, you're fast, do more. But after that, that's when he finally got eliminated. Everything is always opinion bias and who you like more. But I think we can all think of a character or two that deserved to make it the Teapot 19 instead of TV. Not to mention right afterwards when he got eliminated, he just wanted everyone to be unalived. I like the challenge, but not the source of inspiration. You can't say that there's no respect for Mechanical Minds when you didn't even attempt to make friends with any of the contestants left. Golf Ball and Tennis Ball do not count since they were more of allies on their teams. His character just did not have much to offer as a contestant, which I wouldn't argue if he was just a co-host. Then his character would fit his role really well. With this person now at least deserving to be a contestant, she did have something very similar to TV, which was being carried in one respective season for one specific thing. As much as I love her, I'm going to talk about Book. It's always weird putting characters I actually like high in an overrated tier list. But I realize it more as of why I'm doing this, since the biggest reason I care for Book is literally her personality and her arc in BFB. That was her best showcase for sure. Getting to move away from Free Smart and becoming more of herself, little bits were only needed in Teapot for that. So her character could have concluded pretty early in the first couple episodes. So why is she in the merge in the final 2 of BFDIA? If you really want to stretch it, she ended her character arc in Teapot 10 of season 5. She became friends with Taggy, done deal. She made a little resolve with Ice Cube, that could have easily happened if they were eliminated. Book just doesn't compete well, ever. Clearly showcased in BFDIA that without her team and in the newest Teapot episode, she's just not good at winning. She's good at being favorable and loved, getting further into the game, but there's another contestant way worse than that. But we'll talk about that later. I think Book could be a contestant worthy of the finals in BFDIA, but not for the reasons she has made it there for. If we're all really honest with ourselves, we all know the reason she has made it as far as she has. We all felt bad for her because she's a nice character that did nothing wrong, who just wanted to compete and win. But then she got brutally electrocuted, poisoned, crushed, scammed, kind of, stabbed twice, burned, and slashed. As much as it sucks to see, how can you say that's a contestant worth making it to the finals of BFDIA? Again, I love her character. These are just not reasons to make it as far as she has. And let's be honest, this comment was made for a reason in the show.
Seriously, they're the final three.
So that's why I'm going to talk about Tennis Ball next. I don't think I've ever heard of a more mixed opinionated character than Tennis Ball. Every single time I hear any conversation about him, it's that he should be eliminated, but I still like him. That's usually the take I hear, and it makes sense, because the only reason this guy is still in both series right now is because his fans will just not let him go. Tennis Ball as a contestant is mildly strong. Like, he may be smart, but bro becomes one of the most neediest contestants once he has his allies again. He becomes so lost when he has to do anything by himself or lead, and his last couple episodes in Teapot were just running away from the force. And he got second safe twice because of that. That's where it becomes annoying to see contestants like Lai go all out, and then Tennis Ball complains, draws a picture for an episode, dies, and then almost gets 40,000 votes to be safe. How does that make sense to be deserving of winning the whole series? Yes, I still like Tennis Ball, I really do. But do I think he deserves to win BFDIA out of the multiple options we did have? It makes sense to a degree, but no. Someone I'm glad didn't win their season is someone who just got eliminated though in the newest BFDI series, BFDIE. And she has seemed to be a fan favorite. I personally think that Needy is very overrated. I'll just get the big one out of the way. Needy's only redeeming quality was just trying to change towards the end, but for almost the whole series, she won by doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's a pretty funny concept, and I wouldn't found it as bad if she didn't screw over contestants multiple times. She didn't create a single ally. She just didn't do anything. I have nothing to say about her, and that's the issue. And she gets voted for to be one of the most favored contestants. Plus, the second she tried, she got out. That really shows how good her character is at challenges to begin with. But with that one out of the way, we get to the final contestant. What have they done? How strong is their game? What does their voting status look like? Well, I'll tell you, this isn't the first time that he's ever gotten first. Because it's happened once, then again, then again, then again, and it's about to happen again. How in any way is Grassy still in Teapot? Grassy is a joke character. I love this guy, I really do. But when there's characters like Eraser on his team who have been pushing to be more competitive and take initiative, how is there such a big gap in voting? And a big thing to clarify now, yeah, votes are based on if you like the contestant and you want to see favorites make it further into the game. With a fan base of such a younger audience, characters like Grassy are for sure going to make it further than someone who is super serious. I don't really mind that. At the end of the day, it's going based off did they or do they deserve to be as far into the competition as they are now. For Grassy, he has not earned his place in the final contestants of Teapot. Ignore Teapot 19 and 21 for a second, and think about his character. Has he, and I mean truly has he, made a big contribution to his team? I remember he threw off someone in the balance beam challenge. Was there more that he did? He did get the flag in Teapot 14, but anybody could have picked that up. That was just a matter of fact of writing, and it comes as the bigger shock instead of someone like Book grabbing it for the team. Then the whole taking over tree thing, I don't remember a single moment where that actually worked in his favor. But to talk about obviously his two most contributing episodes, what exactly happened? He clinged the pencil, cried, and won. And guess what now? He finally did some things by getting stronger and smarter in just one episode. But out of over 100 other episodes, it's not going to change a spot at the top in just an instant. I will actually be shocked if I don't see a skyrocket in votes for him being the first one safe in Teapot 22. But this one was actually a bit of a tough topic. I'm not one to speak negative, so trying to think of ideas of why I think these characters are overrated was actually harder than expected. But I know you guys are some pretty dedicated fans as well, so what do you think? Let me know down in the comments who you think is very overrated for BFDI. As always, I'll see you next time.